Blog Talk Radio.
You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
The World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
Hello.
Hello. I'm assuming you're talking to me.
You were talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I have you on hold. I have to give you a proper intro. That's what normally happens here. That's the function that I do. But you know, I have my news stories sitting in front of me, ready to rock and roll. You know, just to give myself a little bit of filler. I didn't want you talking to yourself. You know, we want to treat you as the royalty that you are. So I don't have my drum roll ready. So let me just go into this. She is one of the few acts of royalty in pro wrestling today. She's been crowned Miss OVW in 2013 and opened up her tour card as she has recently fought Strong Style in Japan. Joining me on the show tonight is the Powerhouse Princess, the lovely Lylah.
That was awesome. I don't think I need any more drum roll or bells and whistles than that.
Well, you know, when I have guests on the show, I try to roll out the proverbial red carpet, if you will, as best I can. So, you know, that was I think that was the best. I have your music ready to go, but it was I couldn't adjust the volume. It's a little bit blaring right now. Even Stevie Wonder can drown you out at this point. So,
well,
but it is a lovely theme.
I was a little bit late coming in because I'm buying some plane tickets. As you know, I recently just got back from Japan, there for 3 months, and I live in Louisville, Kentucky, but my family lives in the Seattle, Washington area. So my family really wants to see me. I would have seen them this time of year anyway because, like I said, I live in Louisville. But especially because I'm just coming back from Japan, they all really want me to come home and, you know, just be able to talk about everything while it's still fresh and see me and know that I'm safe and everything.
That's right. Go see your family and let them know that you're safe and sound back from Japan in one piece, all that good stuff. And speaking of Japan, how was that experience?
Oh, I mean, it was really awesome in a lot of ways and very unexpected in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is just I knew it was going to be hard work. I knew that going to Japan, it wasn't just going to be, you know, a free trip to Japan to hang out with my best friend for a few months because Crazy Mary Dobson is my best friend, and she was the one who referred me to the company in Japan that brought me out there, and she was there for 2 of the 3 months that I was there, so kind of a, you know, once-in-a-lifetime dream trip where you end up in Japan, all expenses paid with your best friend, so that was like the awesome, exciting part of it. And then, you know, getting to do sightseeing, getting to meet all the people that I met, getting to work with all the great people that but then just working my butt off every single day that I was there. You know, it was a lot, and it's kind of like, for me, I feel like if anybody ever had any question as to whether or not I was quote-unquote properly trained or paid my dues or, you know, worked hard for my place in wrestling, I I almost feel like nobody, no hater of any size could think that I have not earned everything that I get in wrestling now, because I definitely spent, I think I was there for 82 days altogether. And it was literally like, we had, so there's 7 days in a week. You have one off day. So for every single day of the week, there was either training or a show. And like I said, you get one off day. So it's like usually the day after a show, you'd have the day off. So you know, and training wasn't, you know, just, oh, we go and train for a couple hours. You know, like normal wrestling training is like, what, once, maybe twice a week for a couple hours. But it wasn't like that at all. It was like we wake up at 9 and clean from 9 until 10, you know, just like the dojo where we live. And then from 10 until 12, you have free training, which is like weightlifting and running and that kind of stuff that you know, like your regular workout. And then from 12 until 1:30, you get to, you know, eat and refuel and everything. And then you have afternoon training, dojo training, from like 1:30 to 3:30, sometimes longer, just depends on what we were working on. And that was all the in-ring training with the senpai there in the dojo. So it was like, altogether, we had a good 4 to 5 hours of mandatory working out and just training. So definitely wasn't like, oh, I just get through this training and then I'll have the rest of the day to relax and do whatever I want. It was more like you wake up, you're going and going and going, and then by the time you're done with training, it's all you can do to take a shower, get some dinner, and then you're wanting to just lay down and rest until the next day and do it all over again.
So you were working hard.
Definitely.
Never even mind the clash of styles. Now, if you had to define the biggest difference in ring, now we're talking about in ring, the big difference in ring between working U.S., working Japan, what would you say that would be?
Well, definitely for me, the biggest, I mean, I'm bigger than all the other girls that I wrestle most of the time, short of like Lady Tapa and you know, the really tall girls that I've worked with. But I've worked with Lady Tapa quite a bit, but never really worked with anybody that was bigger than me. So it's always been me who was kind of like the strong style, and not even that, not even strong style, just like power moves and that kind of thing. Anybody that actually knows me knows that I'm not really about the strong style form of wrestling, but in Japan, it's almost like you can't not work that style, because what it's all about is like the fighting spirit and being a warrior. And it's almost like the biggest difference that I could tell is there, it's almost like the more of a beating you take, the better you look. Whereas here, it's like, oh no, I'm not going to look like crap. I'm not going to let you, you know, whatever. But, you know, you're not going to make me look bad. But it's more like there, the more times that you know, take a bunch of crazy stuff and kick out, or, you know, a girl hits you and you hit her, and she hits you and you hit her, and you're trading back and forth, the more you do that, the more the people see that what you can take and what you can do and what your body can be put through, and that seems to be what they enjoy there, as opposed to here. It's more, well, and see, I'm a whole different case, because everybody that I know says that I'm a TV wrestler, because I'm from OVW, and OVW teaches us to wrestle a different style than even indie style, you know, whereas a lot of the indie style is actually more influenced by Japanese wrestling. And so, I mean, there's more similarities between, like, indie style wrestlers and Japanese wrestling than there are, you know, like OVW style wrestling and Japanese wrestling. In fact, I was at OVW and, you know, crowned Miss OVW and deeply ingrained in OVW. in their women's division, and right as I, found out that I was getting this opportunity to go to Japan, I approached the people at OVW and let them know what I was thinking about doing, and they actually were like trying to discourage me from going. And I mean, part of it was because their women's division was lacking girls, and they wanted me to stay and everything, but it wasn't presented to me like that. It was more like, well, what's Japan going to do for you? Are you even going to make money? And it was like, yeah, actually I am. I'm going to make more money doing this than I do just doing my regular job here, and I get wrestling training, and I get a free trip to Japan. It's like when you're presented an opportunity where a company is going to pay for you to come to Japan, they're going to pay for your living expenses, they're going to pay for your food, you make money off of, selling your picture. It's so crazy. An 8x10, they make 8x10s for you there, for, their company. They're $30 or 300 yen. I think it's 300, no, wait, 3,000? 3,000 yen? I'm not sure. $30.
I wish I could pay the exchange rate.
$10 just to take a picture. Like if someone wants to take a picture with you on their cell phone, you get $10 for that. So it's just, there's no end to the money-making possibilities over there. So for someone to say, oh, no, don't go, stay here, and, I don't know if you know anything about OVW, but when you're at OVW, you're there as a trainee, you're training. And the whole point of me going to Japan was to train and get better. So it just seemed kind of odd that they didn't want me to leave. And then now I'm back, and they told me they don't have anything, they don't have any intentions of using me, is what I was told. And I don't know if that's because they're mad that I left, or, obviously they could use another woman. They've got, 2 or 3 girls there. They've been having the same girls for however long. People have been, oh, man, I can't wait till you get back, and then I'm back, and they don't want me. So it was kind of like, I didn't know if it was just because this particular person doesn't like me, or, they didn't want, he had said something to the effect of that they didn't, basically before I left, that they didn't want me as a Japanese girl, or they didn't want me in, my character being influenced by Japanese-style wrestling. So it's like, if I come back and I'm, Japanese-style in any way, they weren't going to use me anyway, or they were going to, kind of crap on it because for whatever reason, they were just not behind it, I guess. But so now, I've got
You're
this
free agent
style.
now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But like I said, now it's almost like, I think if you spend 3 months in Japan, living it, learning it, it's what you are now. You can't come back and I think it would be stupid to, what am I supposed to just act like I haven't been to Japan now? Am I supposed to just pretend that I didn't learn all this stuff? And, the evolution of my character in this case, adding the Japanese style, it makes it, in my opinion, better because I'm more focused, I'm more, I have a better idea of what I am, and the character, it works, being over there and being a princess or whatever, beauty queen, that they think that I am. They like that I'm, larger than life and has all this crazy makeup and my tiara, and they all want to have a picture with my tiara. And, it's always kind of been like that here where, all the little girls love the princess. It doesn't matter what I'm doing on the show or how I act. Every little girl wants a picture with the princess. And it was kind of that way, too, there, where, I would go out there and just brutalize someone, but they all wanted a picture with me because that's showing how powerful I am, how strong I am. And I am strong. I'm very strong. And they really wanted to highlight that there, whereas opposed to here, a lot of times I kind of get tamed down is the best way I can think to describe it. I'm kind of kept at a simmer.
Let's talk about your difference of style then.
Okay.
You just brought up you learned some new stuff in Japan. I just watched some of your matchups, and at one point in time you were, let's say, portrayed a little bit more passive.
Yeah.
I'm going to use
the
match, OVW stuff. You and Taylor Hendricks specifically, where she's holding the crown, she's being the mean girl, she won't give it back, and they're playing this thing up to basically to the point where the crowd is almost begging you to fight back.
Yeah.
So, do you think that they may have been concerned that some of that appeal of empathy may have gone away once you went to Japan and became a little bit more aggressive in style?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now, this isn't supposed to be a knock on OVW or any of the people there or anything, but I felt like I had a character, I had a style of wrestling, and then I moved out here to go to OVW to, train and learn. And like I said, that's when I became more of what you would call a television style wrestler, where they literally almost don't even let us wrestle. It's just all about character and, what you're doing with your body and everything in the ring. It's not about the moves. It's not about really even athleticism or anything, it feels like, to a frustrating degree. And doing the storyline that I did, the Miss OVW contest and everything like that, being around people who aren't necessarily there to bring you up. In fact, quite literally are there to tear you down at every second, can kind of, that would weigh on anyone's confidence. And so I felt like I went from this, I'm so confident, I'm the princess of the Pacific Northwest, nobody can touch me, to nobody here likes me, they're making me look like crap. People are questioning why I'm not kicking people's asses, but that isn't what I was there for, I guess. And then the one thing that I can say about Japan is, and I don't think, if once you've gone there and accomplished something like what I did, I feel like it's not even a matter of calling it confidence anymore, as, I guess you can call it confidence. I do feel like I lacked confidence before, and that was something that Japan definitely helped me with, was my confidence, not just in myself, but, in-ring ability and things like that, knowing that I've worked really hard and that I do deserve everything that I think that I deserve, as opposed to before kind of having questions in my mind as to whether or not, you look at everybody around you and know that everybody's worked really hard. You don't ever know what somebody else has put in or what they've gone through to be where they are. And so I don't, judge anybody else. I just, maybe had thought, well, maybe this has been too easy. Maybe I haven't worked as hard as some other people, and always want to get better and, work as hard as you can. But now I definitely have confidence in myself to know that, I deserve to succeed and I deserve anything that, happens good for me in this.
So that passive nature and passive character is pretty much gone now. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you have found your, let's not call it aggression, but found your confident side and you're ready to go. There's a non-wrestling question that I have to ask here. What's with the bunk beds, man? You got a lot of bunk beds that's showing up on your Facebook page. What's with the bunk beds?
That's actually because of Japan too. In the dojo, we all live in bunk beds, and we all kind of made it like I had a bottom bunk, which at first I was like, oh, bottom bunk, but then it turned into kind of like I made like a little fort out of it. And just even from childhood, I've always kind of liked finding a small space and kind of making it my little fort and crawling inside there, and just, I don't know what it's about. But now I'm like, I want bunk beds everywhere. Like And then plus, I mean, if you have friends over or whatever, a bunk bed can't hurt. Now, of course, I'd want, like, my own, like, my bed in my room to be just a regular bed. I don't want to, like, not be able to sleep next to my boyfriend or whatever, but in the kids' rooms, definitely bunk beds. Spare room, definitely bunk beds. It's bunk beds everywhere.
Well, these are pretty elaborate-looking bunk beds that you had posted up. And I was looking at this and like, man, what is with these beds? You must have a really fond memory of bunk beds or something. I mean, like I said, they're not normal looking. They're pretty well designed, almost into the frame of the house. Some of them. I'm like, man, that's some work.
That's some dream house stuff, though. Like someday when I'm all rich and famous, or hit the lottery or whatever. But yeah, like I said, that's definitely another Japanese influence. It's like I keep talking to my boyfriend and my roommate about, like how I've changed because of Japan. Different things that I just feel like are now going to be Japanese style about me. And that's just something small, but,
Okay. Well, that's fine. Nothing wrong with pulling in a little bit of that influence over here. That will probably do nothing but help you inside of the ring.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into any negativity with what happened in OVW. For those that are listening that do not know what OVW is, Ohio Valley Wrestling. At one point was the premier developmental territory for the WWE, and then they also moved into being a developmental territory for TNA. At what point did you join OVW? Let's get into that. And was this the first place that you ever wrestled?
Well, we moved out here in February of 2000. Had to have been 2013.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was last year. But I had come out to OVW a couple of different times and just come and stayed for a couple of weeks and trained and, been on their TV and, had done appearances and things like that, house shows and whatnot. So I was already, kind of like an every once in a while, and then I just decided to make the move out here. And, I mean, originally I wanted to move out here to train with Rip Rogers. And anybody who knows OVW knows that Rip Rogers is who you need to train with. Well, in order to train in Rip Rogers' class, you have to go through the intermediate class first. Well, it's that almost all of last year, between working, wrestling, and, OVW, training in the intermediate class, and never made it to Rip's class because it was on weekends. I almost always have bookings on the weekends. I have to work on weekends. There was just too many scheduling errors. And so it was that time last year, like I said, you had to get through a certain amount of time before you could go to his class. And now coming back, had I gone back to OVW now, I would have been training in Rip's class, which is what I came here for. So, I mean, there was a part of me really coming back from this. Now, I don't know, is this show, is it kayfabe, or do you want me to just be completely honest?
We tend to go a little bit back and forth, but you can be as honest as you choose to be.
Okay. Well, I just was worried that with this new confidence and everything that I had learned in Japan, that I was going to come back and OVW was going to want me to be that passive, I'm so terrified of the other girls that I almost can't wrestle character that they had me doing. Mm-hmm. And that wouldn't be beneficial for me at this point. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be something for their, I don't know how to
television.
say it even, but yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why my character couldn't have been part of their television. In fact, I think it could have been a great part of their television, but I understand kind of and this was my thinking, was, so, like, next week or 2 weeks from now, I'm going back to Washington to visit my family. Like I said, I'm buying tickets. So I've been gone for 3 months. I'm here for a couple of weeks. I'm going to go to Washington for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Come back. I'll be here for a couple of months. Then I'm going back to Washington in August because I have a wedding that I'm in, and I'm making the wedding cake, and I have to go there for an extended amount of time because these people want like 500 sugar flowers. And so then I go back to Japan in October. So basically I would have been in and out. I would have kind of been here, I would have been gone, I would have been here, I would have been gone. So it was my own internal debate, and I had talked, to my closest friends about it, like, should I go back to OVW? And a lot of them told me they didn't think that I should. And so it was kind of an internal debate whether or not I was going to go back anyway. And then when I went back and they told me they didn't want me, it was kind of like, oh, well, you made that decision easy. Am I going this way? It's okay, I can stay here. So, and like I said, it was a situation where they just kind of were like, well, we don't have any plans of using you. And then, okay, thanks. I appreciate, I didn't even know what to say. I pretty much was just like, okay. And then he told me that if I was going to stay after the doors opened, I had to buy a ticket. So I kind of like, oh, it's like that. And I didn't even know what was happening. All at once I was like, oh, wait, I'm not part of OVW anymore? What about all the money I paid you guys? And, I was going to train. I wanted to be here. It's in my Twitter handle, So.
Yeah, I've seen it. I guess he may change that now. I don't know. But needless to say, I don't know how. I guess it's hard not to take that personally, but I'll put it this way: you and the company OVW had an impasse in ideals in business. Perhaps you were growing at a different rate than what they wanted you to, or vice versa. I don't know. And that happens. That does happen in careers and business and so on and so forth. And maybe you will cross paths with them again in the future. Don't know. Anything's possible. Wrestling is a pretty wacky business, as they, as it tends to be at times. So now that chapter, for the time being, has closed in terms of wrestling, do you have your sights set on any particular locations or promotions within the United States that you would like to go? I mean, there are lots of all-female promotions here. You got Shimmer, you got Shine, you got WSU. I think Valkyrie just opened up in New York. Are your sights set on any particular place to go?
Yeah, definitely. I've been to Shimmer, not on the show, but I've been there, like, during the tapings and, just been there with my friends and whatnot, and had talked to Dave Prazak about coming to work for Shimmer, and, of course, that's going to be every woman wrestler's goal is to, eventually make it to Shimmer, and now that I live, close enough to where they run, I've always just kind of imagined that I would end up in Shimmer. And especially now that I have the Japanese training, I know that that's the style that they look for and that they get a lot of their talent from there. So it just so happens the next tapings are going to be when I'm back in Japan. So otherwise I would have definitely been looking to, try to get a sparkle match or, do, like I said, the tryout or whatever that you have to do to get on there. But definitely I've been putting it out there, that I'm not with OVW anymore and that I am open for bookings and just talking to anybody that I can, really, local people, and I am looking into more of the all-women's companies that are around. I would definitely like to get into Shine. Right now, I'm just kind of traveling locally wherever I can get, promoters that want to pay a decent PO, because that's another thing, it's like a lot of wrestlers, through their careers, they settle for less than what they're worth, and I feel like I'm at a point now where I need to stop settling and start, realizing my worth and not selling myself short. I do feel like there's a lot of companies out there that pay their talent well, and those are the companies that I'm looking for.
All right. So you brought up kayfabe earlier, and speaking of that, I'm prefacing this question with that, so you can answer it however you want. I just have to put that out in front of the question, so I want to get you prepped. And okay. I'm gonna give it a little bit of kayfabe spin, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to follow me. There's been a young lady in the southeast region that a lot of people say look like you, that runs by the name of May Belle Smothers.
Yes.
Have you heard of her?
Yeah. I had heard that she met an untimely death or something to that effect while I was in Japan.
I heard that too.
Her sisters posted some things online, but I saw Tracy Smothers not even 2 weeks ago, and from what I understand, May Belle and Tracy are going to be in action together at Destination 1 Wrestling on June 14th. So, according to Tracy, May Belle is alive and kicking, and I think that Tracy's word is the word that we're going to take in that department.
Okay, so she took a hiatus. Now, according to that particular video, that which was kind of they were putting that for the match. I believe I don't know if that was any underlying stuff behind that. I didn't question it. I was just doing the camera. So behind that, I just assumed it just to be for the match. Are you saying that there was some tension within the family for whatever reason? You don't have to go into it. That's just did it exist?
As far as I knew, there was no tension, but apparently there was. Just like I said, I wasn't even here. I wasn't even in the country to know what was going on, and then I came back and found out all this stuff had happened. So, I kind of had to be like, so what's going on, guys? And like I said, I haven't talked. I've talked to one of them, but like I said, the only one that I've talked to who's really got any say is Tracy, and Tracy's says that he and May Belle are doing just fine. So that's the only tension that matters, is if there was tension there, and since there isn't, I'm going to put it as all is well, and it's just better that I stay out of drama.
That's fair enough. We can go with that. What's really a shame is that somehow they couldn't book a match between May Belle and lovely Lylah. I think that's somehow physically impossible. From what I understand, she may want a piece of you, but they just never want to be in the same building at the same time. Something like that.
Yeah, while I was in Japan, Tracy came up quite a bit, and, because he's been there a lot, like I think 11 different times or something, probably even more, I have no idea, but a lot of people there knew my association with Tracy, and, just would bring him up and say, man, he must be so proud, and he was really supportive while I was over there, and it was really great for me to have someone like Tracy in wrestling who was there for me during that, when a lot of people kind of, I don't know if it was jealousy or, people not wanting, I don't know even what you call it, but, there was a lot of rumors that went around about me while I was gone. There was a lot of people saying, that I bought my own ticket, or, that I did this or that to get over there, but really what it comes down to is, I think a lot of people want to go to Japan and are envious of the fact that I got to go and have kind of lashed out at me in some people in a bigger way and some people in a smaller way, whether it's just passing on misinformation or what. But really, like I said, what it came down to for me is when I got back, you know, as long as Tracy was cool with me and, you know, he was supportive of me the entire time I was gone, there was never any issues between us, and that was really great for me.
Well, that is good, and I won't feed into any negativity for that. You know, we just wanted to clarify some things because I had noticed that there, you know, of course, between Facebook and Twitter and your fan base or the fan base of the Smothers Daughters in general, there had been some questions, and certainly there had been some questions that came as a result of that promo. So just wanted to try to clarify that, but, you know, not trying to push anything forward. I actually enjoyed the act, and, you know, it's one of the better promos that, you know, between Pain and Pleasure and the Smothers that I ever produced. You know, that's something else entirely. Yes, don't want to go off in that. So anyway.
Maybe they do better promos when they feel really passionate about something, you know?
oh, yeah. Well, you know, you gotta see the promo for the steel cage, and you wasn't there for the steel cage, but you're in the promo. You know, y'all had like a really hard hitting match leading into that. You know, the story was great. I mean, despite the underlying whatevers that may have happened, the story was cool. You know, I'm gonna forward that over to you. You know, that you gotta watch it. That portion of it was good. If you can get yourself out of the inner workings of it for a second, you know, you got to watch that little piece. I thought it was cool, but, you know,
well,
again,
and like I said, I mean, it wasn't even anything that I knew about, so it's not like I have bad feelings. It's not like I'm disgruntled. It's not like I've, you know, even approached the subject with either of them. My only question really is that, you know, did they run that by Tracy first? Was he for them just, you know, killing off this person? You know, it makes me wonder, like, did they okay with this with the boss first kind of thing? But I really, like I said, I had no idea that there was anything even wrong, and in reality, it's just better that I keep not knowing what's going on.
That's right. Lovely Lylah can keep on trucking. She's doing what she's doing, and you know, yeah. Now, biggest rival that you had so far in your career, and I guess this is, you said you moved and you actually began in 2013, so that's pretty short, but up to date. Who would you consider the toughest?
I've wrestled since 2007.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah, I've been wrestling for, like 8 years. I think I don't know exactly.
8 years and
almost
running.
8 years. Yeah.
Right.
So, but I'd say back home. See, the thing about the Pacific Northwest and the reason that I moved is because there just weren't that many people to wrestle. I wrestled the same 2 to 3 girls and 1 guy for the first, 6 years of my wrestling career. So, I would say back home, I had really good matches with a guy named Christopher Rysick. He, taught me a lot. I learned a lot from wrestling him, and we had probably my best matches there. And then the other girls that I wrestled all the time there were Sunny Days and Mary Jane Payne. And I guess I wrestled, she was called Tennille Taylor at the time, but she's now Emma in the WWE. I wrestled her a few times back home. But then, coming out here, of course, I've wrestled Crazy Mary Dobson a lot, and she's my favorite person to wrestle now, obviously. But, and we've had my best matches out here, so I would put her definitely way up on the list. And then Cameron Starr, I've wrestled Cameron Starr quite a bit out here. And, Yeah, I mean, Malaya Hosaka was someone that I wrestled a lot back home, too. Learned a lot from her. But as far as, like, big names or anything like that, I haven't wrestled any real big names or anything like that.
They don't have to be big names. You know, just when you stepped in the ring and you left that night and your body felt it, you know, I just want to know, like, who stood out above all else at this point in your 7-year run.
Yeah.
The one that pushed you the hardest.
Definitely Crazy Mary Dobson. Our matches are a lot more intricate. They're a lot more involved. We've wrestled each other quite a bit. We know each other, so, you know, we keep each other on our toes. Okay.
Dream opponent. If you were in charge of the booking for this, you know, fantasy promotion or something like that, and you were going to write down the person that you could get in the ring with from any corner of the globe, who would she be?
Is that any time in history or
any time in history? You know, we'll add in the little time machine too. You know, okay. Doc Brown is there at your front door with the DeLorean, and he's ready to give you a ride to wherever time in history you need to go.
I would say Beth Phoenix from her, like, really big push Glamazon, you know, WWE time of wrestling.
Okay.
You know, when she was just the shit, she was unstoppable. You know, she's been one of my biggest inspirations, and, you know, the woman that I watched wrestle that, you know, made me feel like I could be strong and pretty, but still girly and kick ass.
So she was a big influence.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Indeed. I got you now. So we got Beth Phoenix. I tend to hear her name a lot, so she must have really been something for a lot of you out there to get the answers. This might have been the 4th or 5th time that I've heard that when I go dream upon it. It's like, oh, Beth Phoenix. So, yeah. Bravo to her. And I think she has had a baby recently, so, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe
definitely
the odds
of her.
Maybe the odds of her getting back in the ring might be a little slim at this point, but, you know, still. Congratulations to her all the same, I'm sure. Let's put that out there, you know. Big congrats.
Sure.
Oh, you know, we didn't get your social media. You know, you have to plug yourself because promoters got to catch you. And I want you to get that out before the stream ends. So tell them if they want to reach you and they want to get you booked on a show, how can they find you?
I am facebook.com/ I'm called the Lylah Lodge on there. I don't know if that's what it is or if it says the lovely Lylah, but the Lylah Lodge is my name on Facebook. My Twitter handle is @lovelylylah, and I don't even know anything else. I have Instagram, you know, that kind of stuff, but I've never been good with that kind of stuff.
I'm not good
Facebook
with it either.
is the best place to find me.
Okay, so if you want to catch you, if they want to get lovely Lylah, go to the Lylah Lodge, spelled slightly different, DELILAH Lodge, and you will find her. You will see her smiling face with the tiara and all her princess stuff going on. Easy to get. Send her a message. She can get a book. Now, for those that are listening on air at this particular moment, the live stream is going to end, but there is some questions that I'm going to ask her on the flip side of this. So, Lylah, you stay tuned. Everybody else, we'll see you in a minute. And there we go. The live stream is about 60 seconds in. So, yeah, when this cuts off, people, it will be available on MP3 format. You can go to iTunes. You can download it at the iTunes store, The Wrestling Show. You can go on to YouTube, get me on Women's Pro Wrestling Network. and Blog Talk Radio. You'll be able to get the entirety of the shows there. You just won't be able to hear the streaming portion of it. So you can get that MP3 and listen to Lylah while you work out or you're driving or you're taking a jog, whatever the case may be, and you can get these last final questions in that you can't hear in the on-air portion, or if you want to call it that. Yeah. Okay. I had to get all that stuff in. And thank you for everybody that stayed tuned and all that good stuff like that. Live stream's over. Going to the B-side. Now, Lylah, thank you for sitting through. You know, I have to go through all these plugs and get all the stuff in. You know.
About 2 minutes
the last plug that you have, this Saturday night, you are scheduled to go against the psychotic cheerleader Candy Jewel, I believe. What can your fans expect out of that contest? You know, y'all have some interesting monikers. The Powerhouse Princess, the psychotic cheerleader. My goodness. So what can the fans expect out of this matchup with you two? Are you still there? Or have I lost you?
Hello?
Hello.
All right, cool. So progress.
Hello?
All right, cool. A little bit.
I think I accidentally pushed the mute button. Sorry about that.
Okay, I was gonna say
I could hear you, but
difficulty.
Yeah, I could hear you, but I wasn't getting any response when I was responding. So.
No, I couldn't hear anything you said.
Candy Jewel, I've never met her before. I really don't know what to expect, but I wrestled for the company down there, UWF. I think that's what it's called. No, UC. I just know it's in Union City. UCW, I think, is what it's called. But I worked there, and it's a really great crowd. They're always, really interactive. So I have no doubt that we're going to be able to have a great match for them. And I really, like I said, I don't know what to expect. I hear psychotic cheerleader, and I just think someone that I'm going to want to, beat down. But that's just what I think.
Okay, well, I guess you will be bringing your strong style up against a psychotic cheerleader and provide a bit of a beat down. That should be interesting. I didn't even ask where did this princess persona come from? Are you a Disney princess fan or something like that? Are you taking in some style that you grew up with and just incorporating it into the wrestling business?
No, I mean, to be honest, the princess persona is really just, they say take your personality and times it by 10 or, turn the volume up or whatever it is that they say. And I feel like my princess persona is just that. Anybody that actually knows me knows that I'm very, I don't want to say high maintenance, but just I really like girly things. I like things to be pretty and sparkly, and I'm kind of used to getting my way, and that all kind of just translates into, I've always been my daddy's princess, and so my character originally, just kind of formed from that, and then I started looking into, other characters that I could draw from and influence from, and a character called Veronica Lodge from Betty and Veronica from the Archie comics.
Yes.
She's Daddy's princess, and that's where I got Lylah was because I wrestled guys originally, and I was like the man killer, Lylah, and then that turned into the lovely Lylah because when I just started doing more of the princess character and wrestling girls and whatnot, and then Lodge, like I said, it was influenced from Veronica Lodge, so Lylah Lodge or Delilah Lodge. It's kind of like that's her name, and then her in-ring name is the lovely Lylah. So that's just kind of the evolution of the name and the character and everything.
Fascinating. Now all you need is your Betty to kind of pal around with.
Yeah, exactly.
See, there you go. Comic books can be great influences too. Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
And there we have. Now the final thing here is, we talked about I don't know if you would call, I guess Shimmer and Shine and WSU and all that stuff are still considered independents, although be it they are, let's call them high-level independents. And you managed to go to Japan. So now the final question here is the ultimate career goal for you. I mean, most often, you hear people say, I want to have a career in Japan or is WWE. It's usually one of the two. So your particular career goal at the end of this thing, I mean, this is the pot of gold that you're aiming for. What is it that you are shooting the moon to get?
I think every person who gets involved in wrestling has to allow themselves the right to dream of making it to the top, of making it to the WWE and being paid a great living to do what you love, be on WrestleMania. And so I imagine if we're shooting for the stars, that's where you have to be aiming. I would love to work for TNA because I feel they have a more diverse women's division and have more regularly had faith in their women's division. So TNA, that, like I said, I moved to OVW, and that was when TNA was here. So either of those companies, or I am almost done. And then, of course, making a name for myself in Japan can't hurt with that. But I think to certain people, having made it to Japan is already above what a lot of people deem WWE and TNA to be. So it kind of just depends on who you are and what your opinion of those styles of wrestling are as to whether or not you feel it's an accomplishment or not.
I think that your hardcore fans would say that it is a huge accomplishment that you managed to go and that you've managed to survive it. So
yes,
not
only go, but be asked for a return trip. It's the return trip that really matters.
That's true, because that means you were good enough to be asked for the repeat business. So that is a big plus. Lylah, Miss Powerhouse Princess, I want to thank you for making time out of your night to come on to the show and discuss your career and what's going on, and even speak on your bunk beds and all that good stuff in the course of this conversation. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully somewhere in the future we will have you back here again.
Definitely, I would love that. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem, and we will play you out with your very own instrumental theme music, because she is lovely. The lovely Lylah, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, did you get the money out of my purse? Okay.
And thank everybody for tuning in to this episode. Lylah is out right now. And I didn't get all my wrestling news, but we're on the B side of it. I guess there's really no point. I'll get back to my notes. Oh, the last thing, and I'm going to say this over her music as it plays. Sting's WWE contract offers. All this time that he's been away from TNA, he is still entertaining contract offers. Hadn't actually or officially signed papers to go into WWE. And, when he does, I don't think I or anybody else is expecting him to do this as a wrestling thing. I think he's being touted for a Legends contract, but the hold-up at this point, as I understand it, is the fact that there is no guarantee which, of course, Sting had for quite some time, working with both WCW and TNA. There's always been a guarantee attached to his contracts, and this is the first time that he may not have one. But the deal is, and the talks are still ongoing, and it is just assumed to be a matter of time as to when this deal is completed. So that's good. Hopefully we'll be able to see him pop up again on like Raw, well, not again on Raw, but show up again on WWE programming. If you had the network, you know what I'm talking about. So that's going to do it, folks. I want to thank the lovely Lylah for taking her time out of the night and popping on here. If you are so inclined to tune in Friday during the day or download the MP3, I will have the Diamond Doll. She's going to pop on and tell us about an upcoming match that she's got going on, where apparently she's got her mask up against somebody's career. And that's always interesting to have that thing go off. Following that, I think we have, and if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, dear, I apologize, Kaiko Nakamura. She should be on the show next week, I believe. And that should be interesting. And let me tell you, she is deceptively quick, powerful young lady. If you haven't had the opportunity to see her wrestle, you need to go on YouTube, check her out right now. That's going to do it for me, folks. Again, check me out tomorrow for that not tomorrow, Friday, sorry. Check me out Friday for that next interview. And everybody out there, be good, enjoy the shows, and we will see you later. Good night, everybody.
This is yours truly, the Latina sensation, Mercedes Martinez. You are listening to The Right and Wrong by Mr. Green. I really recommend for your health that you listen, because if you don't, yours truly, Mercedes Martinez will definitely come down there personally, give you a dose of the Latina rage. Mwah.